Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Yes, you're surprised to see me at this time of day, but I had a message that has some timeliness element to it, so I thought I'd jump in here and deliver it. I'll wait for a few of you to come online before I get going. This may be the last day you ever see me, because the odds of me being canceled forever in the next 10 minutes are pretty high. I listened to a little bit of Charlemagne, and that will be part of what I wanted to talk about. All right, so the title of my Periscope today, as I said, I was going to give some advice to Black Americans. Now, it's not really advice, and I don't believe in advice per se. And the reason is you can give people information, and they can make their own decisions. And certainly it would be presumptuous to make advice for some community you are not a part of. So when I say advice, you should just see it as context, maybe some new information, maybe something that you hadn't considered before. But don't take it as presumptuous, because it's not really advice. You're going to do whatever you need to do. I'm just going to tell you some things that maybe you had not considered. And it goes like this. And by the way, I warned you that there would be some profanity, right? There's going to be some profanity. So if you've got any kids in the room, probably want to get them out of the room. So let me start with the good news. Martin Luther King was really good at this stuff. You remember his "I had a dream" speech? How perfect that is, because it takes your mind to the future. You can visualize it, a dream where everybody is treated fairly. And it was also accurate, because it wasn't true that things were good at the time, but it was true that everybody dreamed of a time when it would be better. So not only was his message perfectly appropriate to how people were thinking, in other words, it fit what they were already trying to think, or thinking. Both white and black, everybody was thinking, well, I'd like to get to a time when it's all working. So I point that out because he was an unusually effective leader, but also his persuasion technique, if you're looking at the actual tools of persuasion, very, very good. Not only did he match conservatives by being as religious as they were, took the high ground, didn't use violence. I mean, basically, persuasion-wise, he was excellent. But that brings us to today. And we don't really have a Martin Luther King who's in the arena, or at least not one I've noticed. And let me say this as starkly as I can. And by the way, if you'd like some context, I've been complaining about President Trump's, let's say, leadership in the last few days on the protests and the riots. So this will not be directed strictly at the African American community, because it's just as true for Trump. But your leaders are incompetent. Your leaders are incompetent. That's the problem. The problem is not really anything else. It's not anything else. If you had good leadership, you could identify and work toward fixing problems. That would get you everything you need. You don't have that. You don't have anything like that. And here is what I guess it comes off as leadership, whoever is leading Black Lives Matter especially. Here's what they're doing wrong. Have you ever heard the phrase "selling past the close"? It's one of the most famous sayings in persuasion. And it refers to the fact that, let's say you're a salesperson, you're trying to sell somebody on a product. You get them to say yes, and they take out their wallet. Selling past the close is when you keep selling after they said yes, because there's nothing good that can happen after that, because you've already made the sale. The only thing that can happen if you keep talking is you lose the sale. It's one of the most basic and strongest persuasion recommendations in the world. Don't talk past the sale. The sale is done. Take the money. Take the money. What happened when everybody saw the video of George Floyd? The sale was concluded. That was the sale. The sale was, white America, do you understand how bad this is? And most of white America probably didn't understand it. Then we saw the video. The sale was made. You made the sale. What did you do after the sale? You protested. No problem with that. Protesting, make sure everybody hears it, make sure you reinforce it. Peaceful protest, excellent. Good idea. Good way to reinforce the sale that you've already made. Make sure some action actually happens. Maybe a good time to come up with some specific recommendations. Do you know what would be the dumbest fucking thing you could do? The dumbest fucking thing you could do after you've made the sale? A riot. Set on fire the shit of the people who agree with you. Set it on fire. And then, oh, it gets better. And then your fucking incompetent leaders, who I'd love to help, literally, I'd like to help. If I can help, let me know. But your incompetent fucking leaders have once again decided that their best play tonight, Monday night, is to have the protests again, which will bring the looters again, which will bring Antifa again. What are you going to be watching on social media all night tonight? You're going to be watching young black men and women commit crimes all night. So all night, I'm going to be fucking watching black people commit crimes. You fucking incompetent leaders, why are you doing this to your people? Why? Do you fucking hate black people? You black leaders? Because you're leading them right off the fucking cliff. Let me say this as clearly as possible. If there are riots tonight, and it's planned by Black Lives Matter to have a peaceful protest, I get that part. I know the plan is for peaceful. But you fucking know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. If you do it again tonight, now that you know, I'm out. I'm out. I will never do anything productive for the black community again. Period. Done. Will I ever hire a black person? Well, in public, I have to say yes, don't I? But black employment is fucking done after tonight. Now, if it stops tonight, I think we can recover. Like if tonight goes well, because I think the police are getting smarter, they're maybe joining in with the protesters. You've seen some examples of that. Honestly, the best thing the police could do is march with the protesters. Think about it. The best thing the police could do was actually just break up and march with the protesters. Why? Because then there would be a policeman or a policewoman right where the looters are. The looters and the police would be in the same place. And then maybe they could do something. Or the police could say to the peaceful people, hey, those looters, see what you can do. Try to talk them out of it. Because otherwise I have to arrest them. I'm standing right here. They're looting right in front of me. Can you guys talk them out of this? That might help. So tonight might go well. It might. Maybe a little trouble. Maybe we figure out how to do this. But if we're watching more pictures of black people setting shit on fire, breaking fucking windows, you're losing. You're losing hard. You're going right off the fucking cliff. I want to help you. I want to help. White people want to help. You made the fucking sale. You made the fucking sale. Stop fucking it up. Who are your leaders? Let me tell you who your leaders are. And I'm not sure this is anybody's fault. It's sort of a default situation. If you don't have a real leader, you end up following a podcaster. Right? It's probably bad enough you listen to me. But you might know that Rush Limbaugh, again, trying to help. What is Rush Limbaugh trying to do today? Trying to fucking help. Because he saw the video. He says this is terrible. How can I help? Rush Limbaugh goes and seeks out the best qualified voices to speak for the black community. So he's got, somebody who can speak with some weight. He finds Charlemagne the God and has a polite discussion with him, which could have been great. Think about it. I mean, that could have been quite a moment. Rush Limbaugh, Charlemagne the Great, same side. Same side. All they had to do is find out what the two of them could do to move the ball forward. So what happened instead? Rush Limbaugh asked Charlemagne the God, what can be done? What practical things can be done? What real practical things can be done? What did Charlemagne the God say to the question about what real things can be done? He said that you have to, I'm paraphrasing, but this is pretty close, you have to dismantle the entire system of white supremacy. That's it? You have to dismantle the entire system of white supremacy. Charlemagne the God, where's that button? Is there a lever that I pull? Because that's a little non-specific. It's fucking worthless. It's fucking worthless. It's just words. They might be true words. I'm not even saying if they're true or false. They're fucking worthless. We're having riots, shit's burning, people are getting killed, and Charlemagne the Great, the person that the black community, at least some of them, have turned to for some kind of a leadership voice, the best he can fucking do is dismantle the entire system of white supremacy. Yeah, where do you start? Where do you start? Is it hiding under my couch? Do I vacuum under my couch? Do I kill somebody? Do I put somebody in jail? Do I change a law? What does it fucking mean? Useless. Useless. Fucking useless. Oh my God. Here's what you should be doing. Now I'll take the should out of here. Here's what you could be doing. Should and advice are obnoxious words. So I'm not going to give advice, and I'm not going to say should. I'll take those words back, because people have to make their own decisions what to do. But here's the information I will give you. If you want to make the sale, make things better, change some things, the President of the United States is waiting. He's just waiting. Give him an idea. What happened when somebody took to the President of the United States the idea of prison reform? He did it. He did it. He did it. Because it was a specific idea that was well thought out. Eventually they figured out how to do it. And then he signed it. What better time would there be to come up with 3 to 5 specific suggestions, take them to the president and say, we don't know if these are the final things, but these are the ones we want to focus on, maybe work through it, do a little more research, do a test maybe. But how about these 5 things? Where are your fucking 5 things? You got like 1 million people marching in the street. Does anybody have a typewriter? Typewriter. Dating myself. Does anybody have a keyboard or a fucking pencil to write something down? You got some ideas? Fucking write them down. We'll take a look at them. I will take a look at them. I will sell your idea for you. In fact, if you can't find a fucking black leader who isn't completely incompetent, and obviously you haven't, because everything that's happened for the last few days is nothing but incompetence. And by the way, I'm saying the same thing about our government at the moment. So it's not about black people. We have this weird leaderless situation. Who's the leader of Antifa? Mostly white people, right? Who's the leader? Don't know. I have no idea. They don't have a leader, right? They're a leaderless organization. Well, so are the Democrats and so are the Republicans at the moment. The whole fucking country is leaderless. If you need one, I'm happy to help. I mean, I don't want to be the leader, but I'm happy to help. If you can find somebody who can bring some specific suggestions to the president, I'll even go further. I will guarantee that if you can give me 3 to 5, well thought out ideas, even if they need some work, I guarantee it will get to the White House. Guarantee it. There's not even the slightest chance that won't happen. All right? So if you want to be helpful, You've got a clear path. You've got a clear highway where everybody's agreeing. They just need some specifics. Just give them some specifics, something to wrestle with, something to work on. All right? But if, instead of that, your leaders have decided to walk you off the fucking cliff by having yet another night of nothing but video of black people committing crimes, because that's what's coming, don't expect any fucking help in the future. All right? Just speaking for myself, but one imagines that there are other people having similar feelings. I've offered a lot. I've taken a lot of fucking shit from the right for even having a conversation with Black Lives Matter. All right? How much shit did I get for just sitting down and talking to, Hawk Newsom from Black Lives Matter and seeing if we could figure out something that would be useful? Turns out that Hawk Newsom was fucking useless because he didn't want anything that was useful in the end. He just liked the issue. So he was addicted to the issue. He was not committed to any kind of solutions. At least that's my opinion after working with him. But I took the chance. I took the personal risk of working with Black Lives Matter to try to help because I thought I could. There was no interest in solutions that I could find. Really couldn't. Couldn't find any interest in solutions. And in fact, that was somewhat confirmed by my interaction. I heard from some behind-the-scenes stuff that the worst thing that could happen is a solution, right? Because they need the issue, not the solution. So let me say it as clearly as possible. Tonight's the last night. Tonight's the last night. If shit burns up tonight, if windows are broken tonight, I don't care if Antifa held the hammer. If Black Lives Matter organized protests, Antifa shows up with a hammer, I'm out. And I don't know if I could get back in. But if you want to walk off the cliff, tonight's the night. So let's see how fucking incompetent your leaders are tonight. See if you follow them. Walk right off the fucking cliff. Go ahead. Because this is the biggest mistake the black community has ever made. By far. By far. Nothing's even close. Anyway, so I wanted to do that, give that little bit of context that I won't call advice because that's presumptuous. You really need to know how white people think if that's who you're trying to persuade, and I believe that's the problem, right? You are trying to persuade white people. You're not trying to persuade yourself. If you want to persuade white people, I just told you how. Stop selling past the close. Give us some suggestions. We're ready. All right. I'm just repeating myself now. I'll leave it at that. I'll probably be canceled in an hour, and I will talk to you. Well, I don't know if I'll ever talk to you again.